here we go. 2026, almost the first full show underway, and no shortage of stuff to talk about today. And as soon as you think you got a grip on things, here comes another headline. Let me tell you about Work Trucks first, then we'll dig into that. Work Trucks, downtown Birmingham, ready to sell you a commercial truck. If you got a business, or maybe you're like a lot of folks feeling a little froggy right now, things are getting better. You want to get out there and start your own business, work for yourself. You're going to need a truck to do it, to provide your service or whatever it is you're doing. Some of you just need a good old plain commercially based pickup truck with nothing on it, just a shop truck to get your stuff around, get you a logo on there and get out there and start working. Otherwise, you got specific needs in electrical and plumbing and other disciplines. They've got them at Work Trucks, tool body vans, service body vans and trucks, dualies, flatbeds, box trucks, cargo passenger vans, pre-owned. So you're going to save some money. 100% going through with low miles. Everything on that lot, to me, looks brand new. I mean, I even challenge you to point out things that don't look new. It's a great dealership. I always say to keep your overhead down and keep your business moving up and down the road in 2026. It's Work Trucks, TRUX, Work Trucks, LLC.com, Work Trucks, LLC.com. Well, the dominant stories as we came on the air today, of course, was the Venezuela raid and everything, the fallout from that. It's just been amazing to watch. Of course, Maduro had his day in court today. Proper justice for this thug and freedom for the people of that country. I mean, they are still in the streets celebrating all over this. There's so many Venezuelan refugees that had to flee socialism and communism and the brutal regimes of Chavez and Maduro. New York City, Washington, D.C., Miami, Florida, big cities around the country, native Venezuelans in the streets celebrating the freedom of their country. A lot of them hoping to go back. I'd love to see it one day. I've never been there. I've never been anywhere in South America, to be honest with you. And it just seems like a beautiful place to visit once it's stable and prosperous again. American tourism alone would be a huge boon for them now that they've got a chance at freedom. So that's been a remarkable story. Then the breathtaking story of Tim Walz and his utter failure and corruption in the state of Minnesota. We came so close to this idiot becoming a heartbeat away from the presidency. Do you know how close we came? Biden was bad enough. You take word salad and this idiot on the same ticket, and millions voted for that. Maybe they just voted against Trump. And I'm sure that's part of it. So those are the two big stories. Any other developments on those things with the Somali corruption and Tim Walz's involvement in it? By the way, if you haven't heard the headline, he stepped down from the governor's race today. A lot of folks speculating he's going to have to step completely out of the governor's office, maybe even be up for criminal charges. My estimation, too, is I think he was also forced out by national Democrats who need to cut their losses right now. This scandal spilling into their states and cities. More and more is being discovered and overturned. It's a massive scandal for them and their globalist immigration policies. Any other developments on that, of course, we're going to be following it. But this just out from the Trump administration. They did a live news conference a few minutes ago. We didn't go to it live because sometimes those things will drag on. But the MAHA movement, you know what I mean? Make America Healthy Again, has just scored another victory where they have changed the childhood vaccine schedule that used to have 72 vaccine recommendations for American babies. They have cut that schedule down to 11. Now, when you look at the schedule, it actually puts us in line, according to the statement that came out, and I know this just from having to research the issue over the years, it puts us in line with other nations in the developed world. Well, y'all know what I mean by developed world. Nations that have vaccine programs and good protocols and good science. What I'm saying is not Somalia. But other nations, especially the EU nations, they don't have like 11 or 12 vaccines. We had 72. And a lot of that's just straight corruption in both politics, the regulatory environment, and the pharmaceutical industry, and the way things are done in this country. You pay the money and you get what you need out of our government. It's a pay-to-play system. And over time, they just keep building it up. And it puts our kids at risk to have some of these vaccines that conflict with each other, that don't make sense for certain patients in certain situations, to have them on some kind of schedule. Now, it's a recommended schedule. It's not mandatory from the federal government, depending on and states can adopt vaccine requirements when it comes to school admissions and things like that. Well, this recommendation pulls the pressure off that. And now, look, if you want your kids to have a hepatitis B sexually transmitted disease when they're a year old, a disease vaccine when they're a year old, that's an STD, you're their parent. Do what you need. But the federal government is not putting an undue recommendation, a really absurd recommendation on that. So the statement goes, and I'll be interested to see all the pushback from this. Of course, the left's going to hate it. They love big government and the government forcing you to do things. But here's the statement from the Trump team. Congratulations to HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy, CDC Acting Director Jim O'Neill, FDA Commissioner Marty Makary, and he goes on with all the people, and all the medical experts and professionals who work very hard to make this happen. Many Americans, especially the Maha moms, there's a whole group of moms that have long suspected that there's some untested, unresearched things that are ancillary causes based on either some of these single vaccines or combinations of vaccines or even the timing of the vaccines that have caused a myriad of conditions, immune diseases. Some are attributing some forms of autism and other problems, ADHD problems, childhood cancers. Something in the environment is different in our country than in other countries that don't have these same chronic sickness problems. And yet we're the ones with the 72 injections and they're the ones with 11 injections. So now we've got 11 injections and it brings us back into the rest of the world. And of course, Trump team calling it common sense. The reaction on that's going to be amazing. But, the thing is, when the people, and COVID might have been the biggest trigger for all of this, when the people entrusted with our health, they should be apolitical and not bought off and only adhering to the science. And while a lot of them still think they are, I think there are some naive people in medicine that are going with produced studies and reports and government recommendations and all trying to stay in line. Maybe, I don't even know that it's their politics, but they're, I think, naive about the corruption that led to some of those reports and recommendations. And Fauci was one of the biggest examples of the way he handled things. He was purely a political person. He had a side agenda. He was circumventing the law. He was doing some Frankenstein stuff in other countries. And it made a lot of people sick. And he proceeded to lie about it, misdirect. That was when the mask completely came off the CDC, the NIH, and these other agencies that, no doubt, like the FBI and other federal agencies, have good employees that are feeling like they're doing the Lord's work, keeping people safe. And then you've got the bureaucrats that trade the way politicians trade on the currency of their job for their own enrichment. And that leads to a slow creep of corruption that led to 72 vaccines for kids. Again, they're not saying the kids can't have these vaccines. You can do what you want, depending on where you live and what state you live in. The federal government is not ignorantly going to come along and try to put this stuff. I mean, they cut 55 doses out of this schedule. And so there'll be a scientific debate. There'll be an ethics debate. I wish somebody would dig into the money. Somebody earlier in the show somewhere talked about following the money. I guess it was about Venezuela and the kickbacks that have come from there into this country. And certainly since Watergate, that's a mantra in this country. But I'm guaranteeing it would take a lot of homework, but you can trace campaign contributions, bureaucratic appointments to bank accounts and money changing hands. And you can see how we got here over the years, and it would have to go back 30 or 40 years. Again, it's a mission creep. I think it restores some sanity to these regulatory agencies. I wish we could decouple. We need an active, thriving, properly funded, apolitical CDC. When I was growing up, to me, they were the most antiseptic of any government agency. Over in Atlanta, I would ride past there and see their sign. I thought, oh, there's a bunch of nerds in white coats saving the world from plagues. That must be rewarding. Those guys are so smart. And then COVID comes out and you see the lies and the doublespeak and the made up stuff, like the whole social distancing thing. They just made that up. That had no basis. And then the robots that wind up working in these places, if you want to keep your retirement, and keep your career track and be up for the promotions, you shut the hell up and do what the boss man says, who's doing what some politician says, who has sway or purview over that funding of that agency. And it's not science at all at that point. It's just politics. And hopefully, this may be a start that I believe eventually, like I talked about with the pendulum story earlier, some of these bureaucrats will get their jobs back. Some of them are seething in defiance right now. They don't have any choice but to go along. You saw that lady from UAB that wound up at CDC that wound up quitting, or was she at NIH because she didn't want to do what Kennedy wanted her to do. And some of these folks are arrogantly dug into where they are in the world. But maybe we'll see health benefits start to rise because of some of this stuff, or autism cases starting to fall. By the way, just like with the fentanyl efforts, fentanyl deaths are crashing in this country. Have y'all heard that headline? Less people are dying of that synthetic drug because a president took action. And crime is down in our cities because of aggressive policing again. The border crossings are down, and the myriad of issues that have come with that are improving conditions all over this country. Sometimes just doing the right thing and not talking about it can be enough. I feel like we're a bit spoiled as Americans sometimes. We forget all we were focused on what our current problems are. We can't remember how bad it was before the improved conditions are right in our faces. In other words, price of gas falls to under $2. People will be happy about that, but bitching about something else on these social media driven, angst ridden algorithms that are designed to do that, we'll find something else to be complaining about by the time we get to the next presidential election. We don't learn our lessons. I can show you many times in the last 40 or 50 years of modern politics where that's the case. But for a moment in time, again, when I gave a speech about this on the economy earlier in the show, same thing with this healthcare stuff. Things are improving, and I believe this is the right step. I hope so anyway. Again, there'll be rote opposition, people that are going to oppose it just to oppose it, but they're wrong now. They've been wrong forever. They've been wrong on every single issue they've opposed, and so ignore them. Let them make noise. They're wrong. Love it. A brand new headline tonight that'll sure get attention in the news cycle tonight and tomorrow. EcoView Windows. Y'all, Becky Jackson and her team ready to get your windows done. Let's talk about your windows. Man, I just noticed I flung a rock with the lawnmower. I got a big old crack going up in a double pane window. It's good. It's got its integrity. But I'm going to have to get EcoView to take a look at that. And I've got a construction project that may come about this year. And definitely work with them to get my windows in there and get them done right in the install. Becky just runs an excellent shop. She came in with the attitude of excellence. She bought an existing business. Literally, her story is amazing. She came in and fired everybody. Customer complaints, things weren't going right. She knew that place had potential. Like all good entrepreneurs, they went out and found the best product lines they could find in the window business, and then hired the best installers, paid them well, keep them happy, keep them scheduled. And boy, this is a top-notch company. They've got a guarantee. You need to talk to her about it. She's got the details of the efficiency that new windows can bring to your house and how much money you can save on your bills over time. If you extrapolate out just a few years, you wind up paying for the windows and just energy savings alone. Let them explain that to you. It's a great company. These are great folks. You want to work with them. Let me give you that web address one more time. EcoViewWindows.com, EcoViewWindows.com. It's 523, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. My man Danny Knowles with the Knowles Group bringing you the show tonight. As you get your new year started, I mean, I've talked about it multiple times, but we're all kind of refocused. I hope we can stick to it this year. Let's stick to it. Part of it is getting healthy, doing the right things with your money and your exercise and your eating habits and all that. You got to at least try, right? Another part of that is just getting your financial house in order. We're not getting any younger. Every day we get a little closer to that time when we want to be retired. Maybe some of you know when that is, or you need some help figuring that out, whether it's a money goal that you need to hit or a timeline that you could hit. Talk to Danny at theknowlesgroup.com or his team. All his sons are all grown up now. All our sons are grown men in their 30s. But these young men are so smart and together, and they've learned from the best. And Danny and I grew up together, lifelong friends. And I know him that he's going to give you the straight answer on what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. He's not just trying to get business, but he'll tell you what you need to be doing. And if you take that coaching and get on a path and be disciplined with it, you can be where you want to be one year in the future. It's the Knowles Group, N-O-L-E-S, theknowlesgroup.com, theknowlesgroup.com. One of our callers was just bringing up the cameras, AJ, and how close to your face is your camera in there? I hadn't even seen you on it. Is it switchable? Can you let the people see?
All right, here we go.
You got the lights off in there. What are you doing? Oh, I see you over there in the corner.
Camera on?
Pretty light, yeah.
Camera
Well,
on.
yours is not as close as this thing. I feel like I told you the story before the show started. I had a chance to interview Milton Berle. You remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Comedian. My dad loved him. And I'll never forget this. So here's this guy. I guess he was close. He died right after that. He came to Birmingham for some reason. And while he was here, he wanted to go see the Lyric Theater. Now, longtime listeners of the show have heard this story before. But the Lyric was all boarded up. They hadn't restored it yet. It was this beautiful theater that was sitting there. And it used to host vaudeville acts, were just variety shows. And at 14 years old, Milton Berle came here and entertained as a youngster. And he remembered it like it was yesterday. He knew that about Birmingham, and he wanted to come back and see it again. And in those days, it was segregated, and he remembered that too, because I guess that would have been, trying to do some math, that would have been in like the 1920s or 30s in downtown Birmingham. And it was kind of shocking him, and I think it was part of why he remembered it. But he wanted to see it all. So the people that still owned it and were working on the restoration allowed him. They pulled the plywood loose and opened the doors and allowed him to come stand in this theater. It was all dusty and all, had not been made beautiful again like they made it. And somewhere online, there's this whole story. Somebody put it up on APT or something. They put my little story up about Milton Berle. Anyway, the last minute I get this call in the studio, AJ, at the TV station over at Channel 6. They said, "How would you like to interview Milton Berle?" I was like, "What?" I mean, my dad had his book, Milton Berle Book of Jokes. It's like 1,000 jokes in there, and I've still got it on my bookshelf. So I headed straight down there. I should have taken it with me and got it signed, so I headed straight down there, and he was standing out on the sidewalk. They'd driven him and they were going to let us interview him to let everybody know. And I think it was also to raise awareness about the Lyric. So I believe my photographer that day was a guy named Kerry that worked with me, a great photographer, good friend back in those days. And he had this, or it might have been Scott. I think, anyway, it was these two guys I work with all the time. And he had a shooting habit, AJ. He had a technique back in those days where he'd walk up on a subject real close to their face and then slowly sort of just back up. Like he'd get up on them with the camera and then back up. And Milton Berle flipped his crap on him. Like, oh, he's standing on the side. He goes, "Young man, back up. What is wrong with you? Get that out of my face." It was like paparazzi. And he volunteered for the interview, but he did not want that freaking camera right up on him.
Yeah. I mean, because look, I've done it when I shot events. And I'll put the camera, and if people always give me that awkward look, like, what am I supposed to do? It's like, man, just act like I'm not here.
Ignore me.
Just
I'm
ignore
not
me.
here.
I'm not here. And I get the camera, or I tell them, hey, I need you to, hold this can just like you did this, and I need you to do this way. And I'm over here doing shots and stuff. So I get it, because like you just there to like just be yourself, and you don't want that big old camera all up in your face. But I got a job to do, so.
Well, I feel like Milton Berle right now because I can't get this camera's tied to a post.
Yeah.
And it's right in my face.
Or you can't move it? You can't move your camera?
Well, they've put a fixed post in here
Oh.
like they did down in the jock stand.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is 28 inches from my face. Like, back up, dog. I mean, the one in my home studio is a lot further away. It's the
Yeah.
same shot, but it's just not, not staring right at it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm getting changed for a 50 at the convenience store.
But if you ever commit a crime, these cameras are gonna be like very blurry for some reason.
Yeah. I feel like that guy's like, give me a pack of Winston's. You got change for a 5.
Thank you. Come again.
Yes, I will give you a change for a 5. Need a penny, take a penny. Have a penny, leave a penny. It's just that surveillance camera feel right now. I feel like I'm under scrutiny, being spied on. We'll get used to it. We're not video people.
Yeah. All right. I'm finna turn my camera off now.
Yeah. I see what you did there. All right, let's go. I see Henry over there. Henry, we're going to get to you, and we're going to wrap up the last 30 minutes. We got 2026 underway. Let's go. 545-9950 if y'all want to get in on the show. Come on. 545-9950. Leland Live, talking 99.5. Y'all hang on. It's 5:35, Leland Live. Hey, our man Thomas is over there hanging out, waiting to chat with us about the new year and your home mortgages. Man, some of y'all piled up some credit cards. You did all your holiday big. You went big, but now you're dealing with it. Here come the bills. A reorganization of your home mortgage might be just what you need, and those rates are coming down. Thomas, welcome to 2026, my friend.
Man, you could not have let in any better. I'm gonna tell you, because that's the phone calls we've been receiving today. Because people are panicking a little bit. Hey, there's no reason to panic. Hey, we have solutions out there for you. But you're right, man. A lot of people have. You get out there and you get to shopping. You're like, yeah, I want to get this, I want to get that, and I'll pay for it later. And man, do you forget about those high interest rate credit cards? And, but there's a solution. You have that equity in your house. You can do an equity line, or we can do refinance where you can get a much lower interest rate on to pay those debts off and potentially write off that interest off of your taxes and get you a larger refund. You need to talk to a CPA. Man, there are lots of programs available. We've done quite a few. We've done tons of those over the past few months. We did one last month where we saved someone $1,500 a month over paying credit card debts off. And, man, we are saving people money left and right. And we would love to sit down and just work out a plan. If this sounds like something that if you're suffering from looking through those bills, opening those bills from Christmas, and you're just in a little bit of a panic and you just don't know where to turn, hey, give us a call. Let us sit down and show you how we can save you some money. We can pay them off this month. Your first payment won't be on your new loan. First payment won't be until March now. So give us a call. Let us sit down, put a plan together to save you some money. 205-859-8859 or savewithstockton.com.
Savewithstockton.com. Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate you tonight.
Yes, sir, man.
Talk
Have
to
a
you
good
tomorrow. Man, no payment until March. That got my attention. That's good stuff. I've got to go up. Yeah, I see Henry over there. I'm going to get Henry in here, but something just occurred to me during the break. I was reading back over some of this Minnesota stuff. The two big stories today, that one's pretty big. And the Somali scams and all that, the billions just stolen, not wasted. There's wasted money and then there's stolen money. These people fraudulently stole money from hardworking people in this country that get up every day, fill out their stupid tax form in April, hand it over to the government, and then get it stolen by these grifters. Okay? That's a whole deal. But here is a different take on it from a media perspective. So we're sitting here debating Tim Walz, for example. Is it corruption or is it incompetence or both? And I think it's both. There's no way you miss that much money. You're looking the other way on purpose and you're incentivized for some reason. So the politics of it, to me, are easier to understand. But here's a point I'd like to make about media and this kind of stuff. In a proper country where the First Amendment sort of charter that the founders of this country set up to keep government in check, if the mainstream media that have been the custodians of that charter, I guess since the first days of the Constitution for 250 years almost, if they were doing their jobs and holding government accountable, we would have known about this before it got this bad. We can't count on politicians to do the right thing. The founders knew that, so they gave ultimate freedom of the press to these institutions to investigate. Their whole setup of the way this country was founded was a cynicism toward government, period. When we talk about freedom and liberty and land of the free and home of all the freedom and liberty words and all of our vernacular are referring to government. We're free from government. We're free from oppression, from government telling us what to do and growing out of control. They wanted us to be in charge and have the sovereign right to vote and control these people. And one of the tools that's supposed to be used to keep government accountable is a free press that can report on anything without punishment. So the American left, not only in that institution, have in recent years just abandoned that responsibility and embraced, for their own political reasons, they've embraced censorship, but they've also quit doing their damn jobs. they have become so political and activist in their so-called journalism that they're doing things like, and I don't mind them pressing Trump and his aides on what they're doing in the Venezuela raid. They should be. Their job is to press both sides. They have looked the other way, away from the Democrat Party and the people they support and their corruption. Gavin Newsom, you look at the millions that fool has wasted in California. They don't cover it. They don't flip rocks. They don't get in the bushes and jump out at these people. I've got a lot of liberal friends, true classic liberal friends from those days in journalism that we didn't agree politically on a whole lot, but we agreed on one thing. We were going to hold the bastards accountable. The governor, the mayor, the president, our elected officials to the federal government. We relished the scalps of finding them doing stuff. And I don't mean sneaking around in their personal lives as much as I do funneling money back to their buddies and cutting these deals or ignoring corruption or participating in it. It's the media's job to look at this stuff. If they were remotely doing their jobs in Minneapolis or in the state of Minnesota, we'd have known about this $8 billion ago, but they weren't. And when the politicians know they're not being watched, they're not being held accountable by the voters, they've turned these Somalians into voters, and now the best way to pay them off is to let them get away with it. And the mainstream media, for whatever reason, maybe they're afraid of being called racist or xenophobic or give me a slur, or just for straight up political activism in their skewed worldview, they just aren't going to cover it. They want to memory hold things that aren't suitable for their agenda. We see them do it in story after story after story. They in a hyper aggressive way, cover the right and everything that goes on with the right, but they don't apply that standard to their own side. And yes, they have a side. It's so clear. It's not just a little shaded bias here and there. Man, I've talked about this so many times on this show. It's not just a little bit of a slanted headline, or, as I've told you in the past with newspapers, an unflattering photo or a misquote. This is straight up attack journalism on one side and ignoring corruption on the other, and that's why these guys get away with it. Now, how do I know all this? It's not just my own background in that industry and the standards that used to be, we'd pretend to hold neutral standards. But it is a guy named Nick Shirley, who's just we used to call him bloggers. I guess he's a podcaster or whatever, an independent journalist who just went to Minnesota and found it out in the open, in your face. He went to the buildings where you'd have some Somali refugee that'd been here 5 years that had, I forget the number, 54 daycares in one building that couldn't hold 54 daycares. He didn't have 54 daycares. They used the address for 54 fake daycares and stole money. You didn't need a degree in journalism. You didn't have to study Sherlock Holmes to discover this stuff. It was nakedly done in the open because the journalists in the dinosaur legacy media flat weren't doing their jobs. But this guy did their jobs for them and exposed all of it. It was over the weekend and the last week while I was out where all this stuff really exploded onto the scene, not with just statistics on the money amounts and government officials announcing investigations and some roundabout narratives about what was happening. This dude went and documented the people. He was harassed. He was kicked out of buildings. He was run off. He and several others who just went to that town and did basic journalism. And you may not call that journalism. You could say he has an agenda, but we found out more from him than we did from CBS or NBC or ABC or CNN. Give me the list. Or the Minneapolis, what is it? The Star Tribune. I don't know what their dinosaur news publication is in the city. The local TV stations. I mean, it just takes too much work nowadays in that industry. They have absolutely given up on doing their jobs. It's not even just a bias issue. It's irresponsible. It's malpractice. There is no organization to hold them accountable. It's because they've got the First Amendment to do what they want, report what they want. But here's the good news. You ready? The free market's in control of this, and their listeners are leaving them. Their viewers are leaving them. Their readership is down. that has affected their money supply and their business model, and they're going broke, and they've lost credibility, and there's something new rising in its place. Will it be better? I don't know, but there's still ways for us to find stuff out. And there's so much misinformation out there nowadays with AI and fake stuff and fake news. But at least there's competition now because technology has changed. Cynicism is high, and there's still stuff getting out. You've got to be more aggressive and active in your own pursuit of knowledge, and use your own discretion as to what you believe or not believe as you're looking around and things are put in your face. So it's a double-edged sword with the new internet and all these independent journalists. But I'm gonna tell you what, you got 20-year-olds in their PJs with laptops doing better work than a whole crew of NBC reporters with cameras and producers and makeup artists and somebody writing scripts and putting up teleprompters and technicians and a guy driving the truck. That is so dead. They committed suicide. They weren't beaten by this new media. They absolutely they Epstein themselves. Not that I believe Epstein committed suicide, but Henry, what's up, buddy?
That's a slur.
I know it.
Unbelievable. That was good. I think I'm going to use it. You won't believe this, man. I was going to check the weather on 3340, and they actually did a 2 or 3 minute piece on this whole issue with the Somalians and Kim Wolf. They actually brought up mainly because he was not going to run for a third term as governor, and he did not look like, in this piece, he did not look like what the happy-go-lucky. He was looking down in his notes and he was shifting around. He was bothered. It was not his normal look that you see from these guys. You know, with a calm, cool, collective, and happy hands. And I was very surprised 3340 ABC ran that piece. And it goes to show you there are local stations, not the main damn propagandists, the Democrat activist Marxist media propagandists. That they you know, it's just I don't even bother half the time anymore. I just wanted to watch this weekend to see what's happening in Venezuela, and they went after the Republicans, like they always do. And what I originally called about was they use this word affordability, and they're beating the Republicans over the head with it. And I really believe that, you know, for one, they're the one who gave all these people. So Trump puts a couple tariffs on, and all of a sudden the whole economy is his, and all of the high cost of groceries, it's all his fault. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And the Republicans did not fight back. I would have liked to see them say,
they don't know how to fight back against that
I
stuff.
know. I was hoping they could gather a little bit of knowledge from him and get a little up in the backside. But anyway, I would rather see them say, hey, we're guaranteed life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the pursuit of happiness is made a lot easier when we're prosperous. We're a prosperous nation, and the American people are knee-high deep in prosperity.
Yep.
Now, we don't want to get by just paying our bills. I don't want the American people to just get by with affordability. I want them to be prosperous, and I want them to be having their pursuit of happiness. And you can't do that if Democrats are involved. But the Republicans have the ability to do it.
Well, you just sort of answered your own dilemma as you started. You talked about the affordability argument. Trump's going to win that by solving the problem. As things improve, that argument dies on its own. He didn't even need his weak Republican Party around him to defend that message. It's not a messaging; it's a policy thing. And I'm telling you, he's got the right policies. And we're not going to be talking about that in 6 to 8 months. It won't even be useful as a rhetorical tool. They're going to have to come up with something else.
Yeah, I want to see. I don't want to lose the midterm elections. I want to have his, codify the Trump everything that he's done. I want it codified in Congress. I want it made law, and I want to have my elections protected. Not necessarily federally, but in a way that sends a message to the Republicans: get busy in your states. The one,
There you go.
if you go in the state, you have the state legislature, get it done. It's not hard.
Henry?
We need ID. What's so hard about ID?
That's all good stuff,
Yeah.
man. Hey, call us tomorrow, brother. I got to hit this break. I appreciate you.
You got it.
There's Henry tonight. Bringing it for the first time in 26. I see you over there, friend, but let me get this break in here real quick. Alabama Dental bringing you the show tonight, alabamadental.com. Y'all go see them. Get your teeth done. Make that part of your list. I mean, we're all doing the diet stuff, and I'm going to walk some more, I'm going to exercise, whatever. But do your checkups. Do all your health checkups. Do them early in the year. Know you're good to go. And part of that is getting your teeth cleaned and checked out. It'll head off trouble in the long run. And if you want to practice that, cares enough to outfit itself in such a way that they're open until 7. They're open on Saturdays. So you can get in there and make that convenient for your busy lifestyle. You do not have the excuse that you don't have the time anymore because they've made that possible with a 4-dentist practice. Now, Dr. Brian is my personal dentist there, and he's become a good friend. But there are 4 professionals with 4 different specialties under one roof, and so they stretch out their hours and make available to you all that expertise and all the technology to take good care of your pearly whites. Easy enough to remember their website, too, alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. Man, we're almost done for the day. Monster Liner, last sponsor of the show tonight. Monsta. I got to spell it because they threw an A in there. Monster Liner. This is an incredible paint product. We got a little opening here with some warmer weather. If you've got something that needs to be painted, particularly exterior things, vehicles, things made out of metal, boat trailers, utility trailers, any of these things, this product is designed so that we can do that ourselves. You don't need sprayers and compressors and a paint booth and all that stuff. This is a roll-on technique with a paint that's an industrial quality that's designed for do-it-yourselfers to paint these things. Yeah, a vehicle, old off-roader, something's getting a little rusty and it's not worth paying a professional to do. You might be able to pull this off. They've got a lot of people online that have done projects similar to yours, give you some tips and tricks, total customer support. They'll even send you samples, whatever colors you're interested in, so you can see them before you buy it. And they ship you the whole kit from Coleman County, Alabama. Yep, you'll get it very, very quickly. It's Monster Liner, Monstaliner, monsterliner.com. Fran, we're running out of time, but I think we can squeeze you in. Go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a question. I did watch the YouTube documentary where he did go door to door with a good average citizen who took his time to collate all of this information. And my question the whole time I was watching this, year after year, certain groups would get this money, but how were they able to do that? And with tax returns, there should have been something shady and not on the up and up. How is that possible?
Well, I guess the quickest answer would be you're counting on bureaucrats, elected officials, and others to monitor that and to adhere to the red flags. There were red flags raised by state officials that worked there that saw the fraud, but Walz and his team and others in the state, out of fear of these people who had hit critical mass, just looked the other way. And it makes you wonder how much other corruption has gone on all over the country this same way, with this same business model. When nobody's trying to catch you, you can get away with it, Fran.
Yeah, I've had a couple of LLCs, and I've had to count and show
yeah.
every penny.
Sucker. We're all suckers. We play by the rules. We fill out our forms. We send our tax money in, and these bastards run off with it. Thank you, Fran. I probably shouldn't have said bastard in front of Fran like that. She seemed like a nice lady. See you tomorrow.
All right, stay tuned with Breaking Bread coming up next. Goodbye, AJ.